We're gonna be going over a couple of different things that I've done to optimize the gameplay, whether it's something inside the game or a couple of different things that I downloaded to help me with this. I'm looking at you, RE Engine in Denuvo.
This is my favorite one so far. Nice job, team.
Yeah, we're gonna try to combat those too. First thing, so the first step's gonna be some in-game optimization here, and what we're gonna be doing here, options, and then just go into screen resolution and turn this one down a notch. If you have a lot of stuttering, a lot of tearing when you turn the camera, this one's gonna help you out a lot, reducing the screen resolution by at least one tier of what you have it currently. The next one here is gonna be limiting the frame cap to 48. This helped out a lot with the game feeling jaggy, trying to go up and down, left and right when I'm turning the camera, when monsters are doing moves and animations. This helped out a ton, capping the frame rate at about 48. HDR output automatically enable. We like that as well. Now we'll go to the next one here, graphic selection here. This is gonna be, well, notably most things are gonna be extremely low. Do try to put on AMD FSR 3. If you're trying any of the other ones here, definitely try this one first. You want to have the game have some sort of upscaling enabled, and this one does help out quite a bit. As far as upscaling mode goes, you can try to hit it up with the native AMD, but at least do quality. This is going to save a lot of that jagginess when it comes to turning the camera, which is the biggest thing that I had using a very old GPU on this system. However, for some of the more hectic fights where there's multiple monsters, a lot of animations and particle effects, you could turn this one down to performance or even ultra performance. If you put it on ultra performance, like the game starts looking like, well, you know, it's made out of rubbery pixels. But if you stick it to just balanced or quality, it doesn't look super bad. It doesn't look the best, but you know what? Listen, if you're on some old RS hardware like I am, you can't be a beggar and a chooser at the same time. But what this does do is help you maintain a fair amount of frames as you're playing the game. The next one here, you can put on frame generation. This is going to help you out substantially with the game feeling quite a bit better. It will make the game feel a little bit more smooth to look at. However, if you do have extremely low base FPS, which you probably will, you are going to feel a little bit of input lag. Once again, it's another one of those beggars can't be choosers sort of things. Now, as far as things you can do outside of optimizing the game with its built-in options menu, the first one I want to look at is the REFramework that you can download from sites such as Nexus Mods. Now, REFramework is going to be an open source modding framework for Capcom's RE Engine titles, which includes Monster Hunter Wilds, and it's going to be a lightweight DLL injection tool that hooks into the game at runtime, allowing you to mod the game in slight different ways. But we're not really going to be using this application to mod Monster Hunter Wilds in any way. But if we're not going to be using it for modding Wilds, then what do we need to have it installed for? Well, what this does do is that Monster Hunter Wilds does use the Denuvo anti-tamper DRM system that runs frequent CPU intensive checks to verify the game's file integrity. And these checks can cause high CPU spikes, which cause micro stutters, especially in older architectures. So if you have an older CPU, what this will do, having the REFramework installed, is that it doesn't remove Denuvo because that's illegal, but it does base optimize how the game interacts with the Denuvo's hooks, which allows it to streamline itself a little bit on the calls to and for, and overall reduces the CPU load that Denuvo does do. And Monster Hunter Wilds is a very CPU intensive game, so if you do notice that if you're turning the camera or you're, looking at some sort of particle effect and the game just seems to freeze for a little bit and do some micro stuttering, this would be the one that I would advise you to try out first. So you'll be able to get it down in the description below. REFramework, it's very easy. It's a lot of downloads through Nexus Mods if you're on PC, and a lot of comments suggest that this gives you like a 5 to 10%, in some circumstances like a 15% reduction in CPU overhead, which can give you up 5, 6, 7, maybe even up to 10 FPS increase versus not having REFramework installed. So this could get you somewhere to feeling closer to like a stable 40, 50 FPS rather than like a jittery 30 FPS. I definitely did notice a big increase with my stability on this low-end rig when playing with REFramework installed. And if you're looking to squeeze more performance out of your CPU, you're having CPU bottleneck issues. For some AMD CPUs, especially some older generation ones, disabling the core Affinity for Core 0 can reduce the CPU scheduling overhead in Windows, which can allow you to gain some report up to 5, 10, if you want to believe it, FPS on some older generation AMD CPUs. And if you don't see any sort of increase or benefit from having that Affinity turned off, you can always just go back in and, well, turn the Affinity back on. Another thing you can try is downloading the Wilds Optimizer FPS boost on Nexus Mods. This is just going to be a simple config file that you're going to replace your base config file with in your Monster Hunter Wilds download location, which is usually in Steam Apps Common Monster Hunter Wilds. You're going to want to right click and put this new config and read only. And what this does do is it's going to disable some post-processing such as fog and film grain, LEDs distortion. It's going to optimize some CPU threading that the game's going to be using. There is some claims of up to 10 FPS plus gain and 10 to 15% less CPU usage while you have this config swap going on. So yeah, I've been personally using all of these tweaks on this older build of a PC here recently. Is it the most awesome experience for Monster Hunter ever? No, absolutely not. But is it a playable experience? Yeah, and it was kind of free of a lot of frustration. So try some of these things out if you're having a couple bit of issues with Monster Hunter Wilds, and let me know if any of them helped you out down below. Yo, and smack that like button so people can get the word out, I guess. I don't know.